It is so crazy what you can do with these. From hyper multitasking to virtual teleportation and even playing with simulated objects, let me show you 10 insane features of the Apple Vision Pro. So one of the first things that blew my mind is just how good the Vision Pro is at spatial awareness. Basically, understanding your environment and interacting with it. Like for example, in one section of my studio, I have my work setup with my website open, ChatGPT, a browser window, notes, and even Apple Music. But if I move to another section of my studio, bam, I've got my entire cinema setup where I can watch movies. But it gets even crazier because from my cinema setup, I can walk to my gaming setup where I can come back to the game I was playing, make a couple different moves, and then walk on over to my kitchen where I've got even more windows, like a timer above the pot and recipe to see what I'm doing. But what's especially cool is if I take them off for 5 minutes and then put them back on again, my entire world of windows will still be there so long as I don't power these completely down. So I can just walk back to my work setup and continue with what I was doing, or even grab a window from that setup and take it to another area like where I was gaming. Like, this is literally insane and on the same level as sci-fi movies, but this isn't even the best part yet. Now, the next thing that makes these insane is how you can control everything. It is unbelievably simple, and you control windows by looking at them, grabbing, or just swiping on the actual window. But if you decide to just knock back and chill out, you can use just your eyes and fingers and still have complete control over it, which is just mind-blowing. So it literally feels like you're interacting with things in real life, but it also has that level of convenience when you just want to lay back. But for total convenience, you can also make it completely hands-free by using voice control or by using Siri. So you can ask her to open up Apple Music, play your favorite song, or adjust the volume, which is really handy. There's even a few other ways you can control things and navigate, like your head, for example, with this little cursor, or I can even use the tip of my finger to move the cursor around and interact with my world. So if you think about it, you can control the Vision Pro by using your eyes, your head, your finger, your wrist, and even voice, but wait till you see how you type on it. Now, when it comes to typing, the Vision Pro gives us the normal experience we're all kind of used to with the virtual keyboard. But there's actually a better way to type in it that doesn't involve using both your hands. And that's by just looking at the letters on the keyboard and tapping your fingers to select them. It does feel a bit weird initially, but honestly, in no time, you get so used to it, and once you are used to it, you can type pretty fast. In my experience, this is definitely the best way to type while on the go. But if you need to do a lot more work and look at other windows, the nice thing is you can literally connect a Bluetooth keyboard to it. But then there is also Look to Dictate, which works by looking at that little mic icon and then saying what it is you want to search. Most of the time, this works really well and is actually a really nifty feature. Is this the future of typing? It definitely kind of feels like it, and it is cool. But there are other ways of communicating. Onto the fourth feature that makes the Vision Pro so damn cool is the 3D virtual replica it makes of you. It's called a persona, and it works using something called a persona camera, which actually uses all the cameras around the Vision Pro combined into one that then projects your emotions and facial movements onto your virtual replica so that other people can see that when you call them. So if you think about it, the persona camera is kind of like the Vision Pro's selfie cam, but way more advanced. The best part is you can just be chilling at home in your PJs, but still have your face-to-face meetings using your persona. And not only does it work with FaceTime, but you can also use it with a few other different applications, like Zoom calls, for example, even Google Meet. And again, the best part is they get to see where I'm looking, my expressions, and even when I blink, while I still have my Vision Pros on, doing something else that's freaking insane. I can also edit my persona slightly by changing the lighting, refining the tone, and even adding some glasses, but nothing too crazy like changing an outfit. But beside the selfie/persona camera, the Vision Pros actually have a photo and video camera. Now, something really special about the Vision Pro is how you can relive memories. And unlike normal cameras, the Vision Pro comes with something called a capture camera that can take spatial videos. So using this capture button on the left-hand side here, it can basically capture 3D video of what you are busy seeing. And then when you want to, you can go back to that video and practically relive the moment in 3D. And in comparison to a normal flat video just shot on an iPhone, the spatial video feels totally different and literally feels like I'm actually inside it. But what is especially cool is if I gave this video to someone else to watch, they'd literally be able to experience what I did but through my eyes. And it's wild. The 15 Pro can also capture spatial video, but I will say it's definitely not as good as what the Vision Pro can capture. But there's also spatial photos. So just like a spatial video, a spatial photo is taken by using the Vision Pro's dedicated capture button. At first it might seem like it's actually just taking a screenshot, but what it's actually doing is, again, like spatial video, is actually taking a 3D photo. As you can see, it really is like freezing a moment in time that you can just go back to and totally relive. This really is an amazing new way of taking photos and capturing memories, and words really can't describe this well enough. It's just something you gotta experience in real life to really appreciate. And by the way, unlike spatial video, the iPhone 15 can't yet take spatial photos, so hopefully Apple adds that soon. But then there's panoramic photos, which is probably the most insane photo feature of the Vision Pro, because panoramics literally wrap all the way around you and swallow you in them, making you feel like you're standing back where the photo was taken. And honestly, this is probably my most favorite feature just because of how real it looks. Like, I have this panoramic of my old studio, and honestly, this is the closest I have felt to traveling back in time, kind of like looking in a time capsule. It is just insane. Now onto the seventh insane feature, and that's something called Spatial Objects, which are items that feel like you can actually physically interact with them. And this at the core is what makes the Vision Pro so good, because interacting with these objects feels like you're actually holding and moving them in real life. This opens up so much opportunity for so many different apps, like this one called Surgical AR Vision, for example, where you can see medical results like a CT scan in real time. Or for more fun things, you can get some mixing decks out to do some DJing using this DJ app, and honestly, it just feels so realistic. And if you think about it, spatial objects probably have one of the most highest potentials out of all the other features. Because in future, we might not need to buy certain objects for training or for studying. We can just use them in spatial reality. But these are just small objects. What about things that are much bigger? So by much bigger, I mean entire worlds. And even though Apple is calling this feature environments, it is technically called virtual reality. And it's where the digital crown comes in, because you can turn this to slowly transform your reality into an environment. And this ability to transition in and out of reality into these crazy environments is what makes the Vision Pros so insane. Because one minute you could be doing your thing in reality, and the next minute, if you need to focus on something, you can just turn that digital crown and be on the moon. What's also really cool is while you're in that environment, if someone walks up to you, the Vision Pro will actually show them peeking through to get your attention, which I think is really smart. Ultimately, there's a lot of different ways you can use the environments, but I personally love to use it the most with the mindfulness app, because you really do get to block out the world for a few minutes, and I can imagine a lot of people loving this because it is just so much better than doing it on your phone. I mean, you could also take it to the next level by connecting a pair of AirPods and just completely escaping reality. I mean, you even get the Sky Guide app, which is like having your very own planetarium that you can interact with, learn things about, and it's literally out of this world. So to no surprise, gaming on these is next level. Like, I really love Lego, and there's this game called Lego Building Journey that I gotta say feels almost as real as building Lego in real life. And again, you can play these games in your reality or jump into an environment and enjoy your game there. You also get games like the classic Fruit Ninja that's been around since the OG iPhones, but now it's on the Vision Pro, and I'm not gonna lie, it's actually so much fun. There are so many different games to play, but you can't yet access your PlayStation or Xbox consoles directly. However, you can still connect a Bluetooth controller and use that to play games like Asphalt. Let's not forget, you can also pretty much play anywhere, which is pretty insane compared to just playing games on a Mac. But speaking about Macs, now, of course, because the Vision Pros are an Apple product, it forms part of their crazy ecosystem, which means it can connect to a couple of their other devices, but more specifically to a MacBook, which is so insane because I can change the MacBook screen from 14 inches to something way bigger, like 100 inches. I can then use my MacBook's cursor to control all the windows within my setup so long as the apps are native. But the best part of all this is using professional apps like Final Cut Pro, where the window size is just massive. And the fact that you can then also still switch on an environment and have total privacy while working is just literally next level. I do just wish you could connect two Vision Pros together so that people could share their spatial setups. And I know the tech isn't there yet, but this would just open up so many different possibilities to use these with others. Like, just imagine two people connecting and collaborating on a project, playing a game or watching a movie. Insane. And speaking of connections, I actually wouldn't have been able to get my hands on one of these if it weren't for the help of Surfshark. That connected me to an American server so that I could place an order of the Vision Pros all the way from the UK. But you could use Surfshark to actually connect to any part of the world in any country, and there's a few different reasons why you'd want to do that. Firstly, you could watch exclusive content made specifically available just for that country, like Netflix, for example, which has movies and shows in the UK that you wouldn't find anywhere else. And because you can get Surfshark on the Vision Pro, you can even watch these movies and shows straight on it with a 100-inch screen. Secondly, Surfshark also protects your location from prying eyes. So if you're connected to the US internet, for example, nobody will know that your real location is actually in the UK. And thirdly, it's price. It costs less than a cup of coffee, and you can get 3 months free by using the code HAILS at checkout, or just scan the QR code. I mean, to put it into perspective, the price of one of these will get you 116 years worth of Surfshark. Pretty freaking crazy, so Surfshark is definitely worth it for what you get. And as for the Vision Pro, this is just the beginning, so make sure you sub to get some more content on it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Toodles!